Yeah, we're going to skip the first agenda item.
Okay.
I don't see Patricia. You'll get to meet her at some future meeting, but she's handed over the keys to the website to me. I've always sort of been the content person, but Matt and James Baker are going to have the webmaster keys from now on. So I did want to say thank you to her because, believe it or not, she has been doing this for 9 years. So
Wow.
yeah, so we'll find out what happened and get her on the next agenda.
Great. Thanks, Cindy. All right, we can talk about best practices. Anne, you're up.
Yeah, thanks. So we've talked about websites a couple times in different meetings. You either create a website underneath the main web page, or you create a completely separate website that you maintain and monitor. I would encourage folks to build a website underneath the main page, just because it allows you to reference and link to, and it allows people to flow back and forth between the network information and your specific site. And we've had, I believe it was Anna Churchill in South Seattle, did a really good job of getting rid of the widgets and all kinds of stuff on the side of the website page. So she's made a very attractive website underneath the main website page. So I think it'd be fairly easy to steal her template or whatever and create your own. So that's kind of the only thing. Not many people have taken us up on it. The Ballard hubs are still kind of playing around with a website of their own. Dana in Madison Park, we have a meeting, I think tomorrow, to finalize some stuff for theirs. So not many people have gone to the trouble, but my message here is I would encourage you to build a website underneath the main website page. There's advantages that I didn't realize before.
Can you tell us again which one you encouraged us to look at?
I'm going to find the link and put it in the chat. It's South Park.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to do that, just contact me. I will either walk you through it, and I may be learning the same time as everybody else because I'm still kind of playing with mine. But it's not too hard to do, and you have access to it. You don't have access to the entire website, but you will have access to your page, so you can update it, you can change stuff, you can do whatever it is you need to do. So you have your own login. That page is yours to modify as you want.
And you can see the other advantage that Anne's trying to describe just visually is when you're looking at the South Park one, it's got all the tabs for the Seattle Emergency Hubs up above it, right? So if somebody's going, oh, there's, they say that they've got a calendar, I'll just pop up and look at the calendar. So you're kind of like umbrellaed into all the typical information. So if you have a separate website, you would have to say, if you want to see hub events, you have to go to their hub calendar and you have to put the link in there. So it's kind of extra.
If you want to find the hub close to where you work or close to your church or where your mother-in-law works, you'd have to go to a completely separate web page. So there's advantages to being underneath the, like Cindy said, umbrellaed.
Yeah, it's the only disadvantage, which is minute, is you have to work with one of the hub master people to say, I want a page. They get it set up so that you get your URL. Then you are handed the administrator keys. And so there's just that extra step of you just don't get to go do it yourself, completely independent. Somebody has to say, okay, here's your page. You set your own password and now you go.
That sounds like an advantage.
Yeah. Yeah. And your website address would look exactly like that South Park one, only instead of saying South Park, it would say, Wedgwood or whatever, Queen Anne. So, SeattleEmergencyHubs.org / the name of your hub.
Great, thank you. Phil, looks like you have a question.
Yeah. Do we have a QR code?
Yes.
Okay. Is it possible if I could get it and so I could print it out? In Hiawatha Park, we have a situation where our canister, our big box, is right there where 1,000 people see it with soccer games every Saturday and so on. If I could put the QR code up there, it would really kind of satisfy getting volunteers and so on.
Okay. Yeah, we'll want to talk because we don't want to advertise that there might be really cool emergency equipment inside this box.
Well,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, let's see how we would
Pros
wanna
and
phrase it.
cons.
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
And then, Bill, you looked like you had your hand up.
The question, it may sound like a lot of work, but can we do both? Have our own website and have something underneath the main website?
You betcha. But
Okay.
you're right, it's a lot of work. So I would just make sure, don't let the one under the Hub website get out of date,
Okay.
Hub email replacement update. Matt? Looks like that's you.
Yeah. So yeah, I have a bit of a presentation here that I will share. Put some notes together. So as you've probably noticed, we've been having a lot of issues with the mailing list. We've had a lot of email bounces, and we've had to implement some workarounds. I mean, Cindy's been sending out duplicates of emails for a while. So just wanted to put some thoughts to it and explain what was going on. So there's a few things, a few reasons this is happening. Kind of comes down to the way that our mailing list it works and how spam filters work. A lot of the larger email providers, especially the free ones, are abused constantly. Lots of spammers use them because the accounts don't cost anything. So they've had to put a lot of different things in place to prevent people from impersonating other users, from sending out spam, phishing, viruses, that kind of thing. One of the things that they do in particular is they want to verify that when you send an email, the name that the email is coming from matches the server that sent it. So if you were to send an email from AOL.com and you used the email gmail.com, it's gonna throw up red flags. So we have essentially two domains. I'm sure you've noticed we've got the HubCaps, or we have the HubCaps mailing list comes from seattlehubs.org, and the website is seattleemergencyhubs.org. So these are two completely different identities. One of them may as well be microsoft.com. They look similar, but they're completely different things. Maintaining that kind of split situation introduces some issues. The other one is we don't have like a key, like a stamp that says that the domain that's sending the email is in fact, in control of, or it's controlled by who's supposed to control it. So yeah, generally these things have done a lot to cut down on spam. Of course, it's still a problem, and there's always, attackers are always one step ahead, it seems. But there are things that we can do as a legitimate organization to get around this. For one thing, I mean, we're kind of in a unique position where we have a relatively small mailing list, and we're pretty sure everybody who signed up actually wants to get our email. So, internally, these aren't real concerns, but to your email host, if you're on, Gmail or Yahoo or AOL, they don't know that. They just see this email's coming in. It looks suspicious because it ticks these boxes that we decided, are suspicious. And so we're going to just block it, right? You're not paying them, you're not a customer, you're just a user. That's kind of the mentality of these companies. They've got billions of accounts, so it doesn't matter if they block our email. On the downside, even legitimate emails coming through can harm our domain reputation. So that .org actually gets associated with these bounce backs and says, for every bounce back, we're going to increment a trust counter. Every flag builds up, and eventually they might just block us entirely. So some solutions that I've been thinking about. One is I think eliminating seattlehubs.org and moving the email list under seattleemergencyhubs.org. This will eliminate some of that unnecessary cross dependencies. It'll eliminate some administrative overhead, and it'll tie the branding together. So it's really clear that those emails that are coming from the mailing list are indeed from our organization and not from some imposter that registered, seattlehubs.org or emergencyhubs.org and is pretending to be us. Somebody might, think that that's what's happening, or the email host might think that's what's happening. There's also some best practices that we can adhere to. We haven't really changed the configuration, the way the mailing list works in many, many years. Some of this stuff is new. So something that worked 5 years ago doesn't work now. One of those things is, making sure, like I mentioned, the from address is matching the domain. So if, if Anne's sending something from Gmail, your email client is going to see, a gmail.com address is being sent by seattleclubs.org. And so if you're on Gmail, Gmail is going to say, well, I didn't send that. So that's bad. So it's going to block it. So we can also make some changes there. The other thing is the mailing list manager we use, Mailman, is a very old version. It hasn't been updated since December of 2021. There's a whole new version code base that's been in development since even before that. And it has some nice new features which would help. Those features are in the way that it can rewrite the email header itself, so that instead of showing the original sender, it would show mailing list at, or it would say it's from hubcaps at seattleemergencyhubs.org, but then the subject line would say who actually initiated that email. So it would still be clear that it's coming from the mailing list, who sent it. It just makes some changes so that it looks more legitimate to your email provider. Other stuff that we can do is online archiving. So there's this component of it called HyperKitty, I didn't name it, but it's a web-based archive. Basically, it would take all of those email topics. Whenever somebody sends a message to it or to the list, it'll create a topic with that email subject and allow people to go in and reference it. So you don't have to dig through your email. You don't have to try to figure out what order a message was sent in. You can click on any of these topics and have a threaded view that shows what was the original message, who sent it, when, and you can see the replies in order of when they came in, who sent them. You can just, you can always go back to that and not have to, dig through your inbox, and you can search by topic. So it's just another way to look at it. The data's the same. It doesn't change the way the emails work. It's just a nice clean way to browse those threads if your emails, gets cluttered or you delete something. A couple of other options. I'd like to get a little bit of feedback. All of this that I'm presenting here is really low cost or free to change. It just requires some time and effort on my part and on James. So I just kind of want to know what get to know the pulse of the room, before we put a lot of time into it. So Google Groups, again, it works pretty similar to what we have, except all the hosting and security are handled by Google. So they do all the authentication, they do all the changes to make sure that everything's legitimate. They do their own reCAPTCHA checks to make sure you're a person and not a bot. Emails are archived online, like I showed with the screenshots. Downsides, they could kill it up at any time. They've done it before. They've killed lots of projects that people were using, Jamboard, Google Plus. They don't care. If it's not making money, they tend to kill stuff. Users would have to resubscribe, so we can't just port it over and everybody gets mail again. They'd have to Cindy?
So nobody on this web or on our current email list subscribed. They were all hand added. So we would have to find every individual and say, you have to do this action in order to be on this email list. Is that correct?
I believe you can pre-populate it, but the best practice, the way that mailing lists work these days, best practice is to actually double confirm that somebody wants to join. So you're confirming, you basically send an invite, they have to respond to the invite, and then they have to prove that they are who they are and that they actually want to subscribe, just to be sure that you're not sending spam. Like I mentioned before, I mean, all these hosts are extremely sensitive.
I'm just making sure everybody out there is hearing that they will have to take action. They don't get to just go say, hey, Cindy, add me. They have
Yeah, I think they
to
would have to take an
do that.
additional
Okay,
action to
that's what I want to
resubscribe.
make sure was
Yeah.
remembering that.
I can confirm that, but I don't think that they'll start receiving regular emails until they confirm. Yeah. Also kind of downside, it'll be Google branded. You know, we can't put our logo on it, but or our domain, but it'll be clear that it's coming from our list. You know, we'll stamp it with that. But the emails will come from Google. Groups.io is another option. They're more likely to stick around because they're actually a freemium model, so they have a free tier that I think will support everyone that's on the list now, and it's supported by larger organizations that pay. So it is a profitable thing, and they just offer the free tier to smaller groups like ours. But pros over Google Groups gives you more self-service options. Something I like is that instead of receiving every email individually, you can get digests of like 12 emails, or every email that was sent for a day. They'll send you all in one email at the end of the day, so you don't have all the back and forth. It includes calendar, photo, and file hosting. Not that we need that, but it's there. It's also going to be branded groups.io, but the emails are clear. Custom domains are a premium to add those. I mean, it's a paid feature. And then I'll pause for questions. I did want to touch on Discord. I know I've talked about it a lot, but I do want to share a little bit about. But first, are there any questions about these email options? Chris?
Yes, I had one which, sorry, let me lower my hand before I forget. So the Seattle Hubs is the old domain, but like it looks like the website, not talking about the email part, but the website right now, if you go to it, it just automatically redirects to emergency hubs.
Yep.
Or Seattle emergency hubs. I'm just wondering if are you talking about killing off the website part of it as well, or just the email part?
I would think that the URL redirect we can keep around as long as we want to keep paying for the domain. I don't see a reason to keep it around.
I was just going to say, if you were retiring it, just as somebody who's been having to look through a lot of old web accounts that don't exist anymore, if maybe having like you shouldn't be using this anymore. I don't know where people have links to Seattle Hubs. I was just looking online. They look, quite old, but I could see some part of the Seattle website having the wrong URL, but nobody notices because as soon as you click on it, it fixes it. So just a little point, but
yeah, and it could be a temporary landing page that says, you've reached this URL, but we've moved to here. Please update your bookmarks, and we can keep that around for a while too. That's an option. Yeah, I mean, domain registrations aren't too expensive. Sarah?
Hi, Matt. You've convinced me that you know more about this than me.
Okay.
And I would love to know if you've given us a few options, and I can't tell what are. I would love to hear what you think are how you think we should move forward.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that it makes sense to rebuild. Kind of move the hosting situation around so that we fully control everything end to end with the email, in a way that is manageable by multiple people. So myself and James and whoever else might come along. I think it's critical, like the second point here, that we get this done. I think we can do that without changing anything about the hosting. But I'll have to double check. There may be some aspects of this that aren't supported by the current version of Mailman that we have. And then the .org, that was really, it seems like an obvious thing to me, but again, I just didn't have a lot of different views on that, and I just wanted to see how people feel about it. Like, do people use it? Do you even notice where those are coming from? Would you notice if it was different? Cindy?
Sarah, one other thing is our agreement with Matt and James taking over website is they're technical experts. They do not want to be the people who get the phone call saying, hey, I've just added 2 more people to my hub group and I want you to add them, right? That becomes a kind of like, am I adding them just to the mail list or access to Google Drive or on the map, or, so it's like, there's got to be a hub person doing the integration of the new people is kind of like the onboarding problem. So the ultimate goal is that the new person who takes this over from me is able to work with Matt and do those jobs and then just call Matt and go, it's not working, for the technical assist. So part of this is also anybody who understands what he's saying may be the new email manager. So Matt, maybe one of the things
Yeah,
you
I'd
can
like to make it
do-
more self-service.
yeah, one of the things you can do is to maybe show, like, build a couple of slides that show people what emails look like from Google Groups and emails look like from .io, which I've not ever seen, and then also an explanation, because like, you've done a poll before and I think only 3 people at one of the meetings were like knew what even Discord was.
Mhm.
So visuals are going to help people a little bit more. And then also your responsibility will be, you have to do this or that or whatever, right?
Okay. Yeah, I'd certainly like to give people the ability to, add themselves to the list and remove themselves, and give different hub captains the ability to, modify their sites and communicate with their co-captains and all that. I think that's important. I don't want to get in the middle of that and do all the extra work. Certainly.
Right.
Let's see, Chris, you raised your hand again?
Yeah, I just want to say, Matt, I'll send you my email address. I'd be willing to help with, putting some of the slides together or kind of testing,
Okay.
some of the scenarios. I used to spend way too much time on mailman listserv services. So,
Okay. Yeah, so you probably understand some of the headaches that we're up against.
Matt, I have a question for you.
Sure.
I'm not familiar with Google Groups or .io or Discord, but I'm wondering, since we have a lot of people from, younger to older that are part of the hub organization or who are coming into contact with the hub organization, are any of these tools less user friendly? I mean, would this be off-putting to use any one of these new options for anybody who's already participating? I mean, I
Mhm.
would be game to learn any of them, but I'm just wondering what's the ramping up speed?
Yeah, I mean, so any change is going to have some learning curve, of course. I think in terms of rebuilding Mailman, I mean, we can do that pretty quickly. It would be a pretty seamless experience. Um, I would like to do it. I kind of just wanted to throw it out there and give people the opportunity to say, hey, no, don't change anything. But honestly, I don't think that most people would notice if I just did it over a weekend or something. As long as I didn't screw it up, I think it would be pretty transparent to most people. Moving to groups or IO, we have the benefit of them hosting it and taking care of all that security, stuff behind the scenes. But having to sign up again, that's a downside for both of those. People have to take that extra action to confirm that they want it. And then groups.io, you have to kind of create an IO account to manage your preferences, like whether you want to get every email, or if you want to get a digest. So it's not quite as intuitive, but it's geared to be robust and work around those issues with spam filters that are causing a lot of our problems. They're
Yes.
very careful about not looking like malicious activity.
Mm-hmm. So your preference is to rebuild Mailman, though?
Yeah, I think it's very old software that we're on, and it's good practice to stay on newer versions because they fix bugs, they fix security vulnerabilities. There's a lot of developers are putting time into making the software better all the time, and to just be stagnant on a version that's several years old doesn't make sense to me. We're missing out on some features, like the ability to gracefully rewrite the header and to have that signature that we are who we say we are, that kind of stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah. Erica?
So a question that might be slightly controversial. So I'm curious about our current email list. How much of it we think is actually active people and people who might not actually really be involved anymore? So I'm wondering if the having to resubscribe might actually make sure our list is actually active people.
Actually, we're down to only 27 of people who I actually know, and I know that they're not active hubcaps anymore, but like Andy Peck, he likes getting the emails because he likes the information we give out. There's about 5 where I go, oh my God, I cannot even remember who this person is. And
Okay.
I've just kind of been waiting for Matt to, you know, decide which direction we're going to go so that I can email those people directly and go, please answer. Do you want to stay on our email list for any reason? So it's pretty well cleaned up.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
it would clean it up further though, and that is one of the recommendations like that I called out here is most mailing lists, you'll notice when you sign up for it, there's always a footer that says you're receiving this email because you signed up for this list at here. Click here to unsubscribe. That is critical. Every mailing list should have that. We should have that, right? It's like I said, we're pretty confident that we have a clean list and everybody wants to get email, but if we don't send that out, that's going to upset the servers that are receiving it, right? We need to give people that clean way to get off the list without having to email Cindy and say, hey, I don't want to receive this anymore. Please remove me. And then, having her see it and take that action. It needs to be dead simple.
Self-serve.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Am I way over time then?
What's your last slide there, Matt?
Well, I just wanted to kind of highlight some of the pros and cons of Discord, in kind of relation to email. Just want to keep this on people's minds as an alternative to email. Totally, I already set it up, and I'm not trying to shift us off of email onto Discord. They can work side by side, but I just wanted to highlight how it compares. So it's free. It's already set up. It gets around the issues of trust that you run into with email because everyone has a Discord account. Everyone's validated as a Discord user. You don't have to prove that you're coming from the right domain. It allows you to have multiple topics in parallel, so you can discuss skills fairs. I've created a couple of samples channels here. You can have one group of people talking about skills fairs. You can have one group talking about water filtration, another group talking about fundraising, not interfering with each other. People who aren't interested in one topic don't have to look at it. All of the messages are available to browse and search for people who are just joining, so they don't have to, they don't have to miss anything if they weren't a member when that email came out. Doesn't require an app, works in a web browser, and it has built-in voice and video chat, so you can have a huddle or have a meeting like this, in fact, in Discord without having to track a separate thing. On the downside, everyone who uses it needs an account. So you'd have to actually create a Discord account. You might have to learn a new platform if you're not familiar with it. Some people have joined already. I think mostly people who were already familiar with it and had accounts. But it would be interesting to get some feedback from new people. The other thing is that if something's posted and you are not running the app, or you don't have the app on your phone, or you don't have the web page open, you may not know that anything's happening. And that's something that we can address. But just wanted to keep that top of mind and let everyone know that that's available.
Would you say that's similar to Slack?
It's very similar to Slack, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And just as
It's
a
just
reminder, we
geared
do
for
have a Hub
clubs
Slack
and-
channel.
Right.
Yeah. Is it a free Slack?
I don't know. I thought you set it up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So right, I did. The Slack changed their free model from showing the last like 10,000 messages, which was way more than we were using, to showing like the last 3 months. So like nothing is visible. That's how I created Discord, because Slack is a business tool, and they're they're really interested in business, they charge a lot for their product. Discord is a free platform that is geared for like gaming communities and clubs like ours. I've got the Puget Sound Repeater group on here. I've got some InfoSec groups that I do, a preppers group,
And
different.
Erica had her hand up for a minute and now she's gone. So you might check and see what she had.
Oh yeah, I still see the prompt. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Eric.
I was just gonna say that I've used both Discord and Slack, and while at the very high level they're similar, they're nothing the same. I hate Discord and I love Slack. So I just like that.
Okay.
As the user, I feel like they're completely different.
Okay.
And I'm going, am I going to have to give up my cool grandma name on Discord and, get a hub name now?
No, you can have separate.
You can have multiple,
Okay.
aliases that go with your account. Yeah.
Yeah, each server you can have a separate profile. So
Well, that's
yeah, I would
agree with
encourage
that.
anybody who joins this to change their server profile to show their hub name. Like you see on the right, got some examples of people who have joined here, have their hub in the right side.
So maybe hub captains out there, I think we do probably ought to come to an end on this topic, but do go explore, right? Because it's on a website. You can go look at it and,
Yeah.
poke around at it.
Yeah, and I can send the link out. But yeah, I also wanted, I'm happy to do like a video deep dive on that, actually walk through it and help anybody. But I think, yeah, since we are a communication centered organization, having ways to communicate is good. So just want to give us options.
All right.
So
Thanks,
Matt, are you looking for a decision tonight, or are we?
I mean, if nobody has objections, I would just like to do everything I know to fix email and just make it work better.
The current email, so no change to, right?
Yeah, I want to throw those out there, but yeah, we don't need to make any big changes if everything works out well.
I would agree. I think that sounds like a good idea. And those other options are still there for us if we need to revisit this at some point in the future, right?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you so much, Matt.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Next, Ann and Cindy, family reunification discussion at schools.
Okay. So we've been talking about this. We had the Gatewood event. We're trying to make sure that parents get to understand how reunification goes. So we had another trigger over here in West Seattle. Pathfinder K through elementary school went into lockdown because there was a reported shooter on campus. And so the West Seattle blog does fantastic reporting. The one thing that's great about that is people come and comment on the story. So there was 142 comments by the time I stopped reading, but a lot of them were for parents going, this is really frustrating. We don't know what's going on. The same thing we saw at Ingram. So I contacted the principal, or one of our hub captains, not on tonight that I don't see him. His daughter went to Pathfinder last year. He's the hub captain. Pathfinder is co-located with their campus adjoins the green belt that his box is in. So we contacted them and said, would you like us to come to your next PTSA parent night and talk reunification? So that was like, yep, yes, please come. So we will be doing a program in January. I'll let you guys know that date when we get it set, because I think it's going to be close to a model that we can hand off to all of you, where it's the principal is there to talk about their school specific safety plan. The Seattle School District has information on how reunification in general works, and we might get some good graphics from them on that. And then it's combined with maybe, 3 tables of build a plan, build a kit, build a communications plan, or, hacks, or, something that's related, that's like a little baby skills fair related to you and your children. And that's what we did down at Gatewood Elementary, and it was really well received. So if we can create that model, that's something we can hand off. I know Ann Bond, you and Margaret Sanders have got a couple of schools that, then you just go up and you say, if you have a parents' night and you have an hour of time you need to fill, we can do this for you. So we're getting really close. Ann, is there anything I forgot?
No, I think you covered it all.
So how many, just kind of like wave the hand, how many of you have been out and had discussion with a school in your area in some form? Couple. Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those, wouldn't not normally have, because I didn't have kids, didn't have entree, but this kind of provoked us into some of these discussions. So it's available for you should you run into a parent who has this discussion and you say, you know, a PTA member, here, please talk to them because we can come do this for you. So, and then even if you're cautious about it, I'd be happy to come out and help. And I'm sure Ann would too, you know, depending on your location and date and all that stuff, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, that's a good thing. So heads up, Erica and Phil, once Robert and I meet with the PTA president in person, then we'll be able to say it's this night and we need 4 additional hub captains to help us do handouts or whatever. So we'll be calling on the West Seattle folks to help.
Right.
I think that's a great idea, Cindy, and I bet once parents at one school get it, parents at another school are going to be talking to their principals and be like, when's our reunification meeting? So I think that's, yeah. So coming up with something, you almost would need like a script. So
Yep.
everybody's hearing exactly the same thing, at least from us. What they hear from other people, that's, you know, if we were to do that. So yeah, I really like that.
It's what is really cool is when you do the PTA, I didn't have to do any outreach. The PTA has the mailing lists and the school can send it home with the kids.
Yeah.
You know, it was easy for us on the hub side.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. Retreat planning, instead of Ann and Cindy, it's Cindy and Ann this time.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so that means Ann gets to talk first.
Okay.
Cindy, go ahead.
No.
You know, I'll put the dates up there, the options.
Dates would be great. Thank you.
Well, our problem is we want to go for a Sunday because that seemed to be, I know that there's people who have to miss when it's on Saturdays because we have some people with standing commitments and a lot of kid activities happen on the Saturdays. Sundays in the afternoon after church seems to work for most people. Our problem is when you do it on a Sunday, school, any church facility that we use is like, nope, it ain't happening. So we have to do, I tried to get Verity Credit Union and they still haven't come out of COVID and they're not doing community support in terms of room rental. So we're kind of stuck with using library rooms and I cannot rent a library room until within a 60-day window. So that means on December 24th, I will be on trying to rent the university branch library, which seems to be pretty big, centrally located for February 24th. Ann, are you sticking your hand up?
I am. I'm pretty confident that we could find space at the College Club, which you've seen, which would accommodate a lot of us. And not a bad location, free parking.
Okay.
You know,
I will
so
talk with you because we had hang on, I got to get my day timer. The weekends we've talked about in the past, and I just keep this so that everybody writes it, you know, tries to block them off. February 24th, March 3rd, and March 17th. Those were the 3 Sundays where we didn't conflict with an ACS thing. We didn't conflict with a national holiday, you know, didn't conflict with the Super Bowl. So yeah. There we go. So those are the 3 Sundays we're kind of, so book them on your calendars, just put a placeholder so that you know, we have been working with one of the, she's out of the university, she was with the University of Washington. That was how we met her. She did one of the camping hacks for us. She's an academic who really supports the hubs. And so she does a lot of studies on resilience and community building. And so she has a survey that she's working on. And we said, you know what, that survey that you're working on is exactly what we all need to know as hub captains about what do we want to do in 2 years? You know, like what do we find is hard to do? What do we find is easy to do? What are gaps that we should look at? What tools do we need? What would help us more? So heads up, you know, we think that you will get a survey either Ann and I will send it out, or we'll have her send it out. We got one more meeting to work out those details, where you'll be kind of asked these questions, and all that information will inform the agenda for the retreat. So that should be coming out in January, so that we're ready for a July or a February 25th earliest possible date retreat. So just wanted to put that, and I'm gonna like remind, please fill this out. And for new hub captains, the retreat is open to hub captains and co-hub captains, maybe not your whole team unless they're really, really invested and involved, in which case it's okay. But this is where we set our direction for the next 2 years. We did it prior to COVID. That's what got us through COVID, is we knew what we wanted to emphasize, even if we couldn't do it in person. So it's really kind of an important and fun thing, because we get to all be in person and, you know, get to talk to each other and exchange ideas. So, Matt.
Yeah. Well, you just said in person. I was just curious if you wanted to offer as a hybrid for people.
I do not, because it is very interactive. Usually what we've got is pieces of paper up on the wall where you're moving sticky notes around and you're trying to prioritize or multi-vote on something if it's not easy for people to agree on. So it's a very interactive session.
Yeah, okay.
Great. Next item is the I am safe developments and a plan for training exercises. Cindy, that's you as well?
Well, can't I put Ann in next?
Nope.
Well, this one will be fast. We put everything to bed. I looked, and we did our training for you guys kind of way early when it was conceptual. We did a deep dive on the I am safe messages, and we said more to come. Then we did some field exercises at field day. Anne had an exercise at her hub. We know a lot of you have not been able to get to all those. So we're going to do another joint training with ACS, probably in the spring. You know, like I'm going March, if we can get the retreat in February. Late March would be a good time to do this, where everybody's in all together and we do the hub side of the work, which is, you know, here come distressed citizens and they want to send a message, and we have to fill out the form and we have to put it on a thumb drive if you're really busy, and how do you get it to the radio people? And then the radio people are in another room screwing with their equipment and trying to send the messages. So it'll be a gas, because you'll enjoy watching other people struggle instead of us just, you know, go, oh, this is chaos. But it'll be a really good training session, and we'll be able to knit the whole thing together. The team has done a really good job of putting together detailed standard operating procedures, a quick start guide, which was what we always like, roll cards for the 2 roles of the hub people, and a process flow. So what I'm thinking is you'll have a whole package to, you know, the network will provide you a whole package in one Ziploc that says, break open this bag if you have to send I am safe messages. So we're going to test that theory. So that date to come soon. I have to coordinate with ACS on that one.
Great.
And then we registered to speak about it at the Partners in Emergency Preparedness Conference, the Regional Emergency Preparedness Conference, and we'll see if we get accepted this year. Dave Wilma submitted it last year, and he didn't get accepted, but they had a really full slate of speakers. And then in January or February, an article should come out in the National ARRL magazine about this. So it's going to get national coverage here pretty quick.
Folks are way impressed with this. Like the nation is impressed.
Well,
That's
we just
the
got
Seattle hubs.
We got to train ourselves a little bit better. You know, Ann and I think a lot, but
Great. Thank you both. GMRS Radio Clinic, December 3rd. Ann?
Yep, just put the details in the chat. This is for anybody involved in the hubs, and don't be afraid to encourage neighbors to come and learn. So thank you to everybody that came to Cindy's garage sale / swap meet. She and I both got rid of a lot of stuff from our basements. We're both very happy.
We made our own brochure for Madison Park Hub, and if anyone wants to make their own brochure, they should contact me. because I'm happy to help you with that. So, but I would love to have this. This brochure seems great. It's if it's the so I'm wondering if I can pick that up from somebody, and I don't know who that would be, but
Yeah, we can get you some. We don't, Cindy and I,
Just a
we
few.
had our first printing was, I don't know how many, but we don't have tons left, but we'll
okay.
we'll give you some. Yeah. And definitely you can print your own.
Okay, they're in the
yeah.
drive. They're in the Google Drive. Okay.
Yes. Type in
Yeah.
brochure.
Yeah.
And I think it says trifold final.
Okay. Okay, great.
Tina, when do you need them?
Oh, I don't need them. I just want them. I'm making a collateral kit and so I'm just kind of collecting whatever I can to
Yeah, we
sort of
kind of
take
do
to
this math
events.
and go, we got 66 hubs, and if they all get 100, that's 6,000, or so they go really fast. So we
Yeah,
kind
but
of
it seems like a really good recruitment tool. So I
It
really
is.
like
That's why I
I
was
love
saying
the
if you-
art. I love the art. It's very simple. It's just a great design. So
Very sweet.
whoever
Yeah.
did it
We had a hub
was
captain. Hub captain did that. Karen
really good.
Lewis.
Yeah, Karen.
And with a third sheet insert, it could go a long ways too.
Yep.
You know,
And
specific to a
that
hub.
insert, yeah, that insert's in the hub drive as well. Just type in brochure insert
Okay.
and you'll get to
Good.
it.
Good.
All right, back to you, Gabrielle.
Thanks. I picked up something that looked like notebook paper at Cindy's garage sale, and I looked at the very tiny type at the bottom, and it's all weather paper. So I don't know what that is, but I thought it was kind of cool. If you need it back, Cindy, let me know.
Nope. You want it, you get it.
Right in the rain paper.
Right in the
Yeah.
rain. Yeah.
Right in the rain.
It was fun.
Paper.
All right. Sharing best practices of the hub. Does anybody have anything they would like to share before we move to around the room announcements?
Yeah, I just discovered something and I wanted to share it because I don't know if everybody knows this, but I added the Seattle Emergency Hub's calendar to my own personal calendar, and I took some screenshots so I can tell people how to do it really quickly if you
Sure.
like. And yeah, so if you scroll down to the very bottom, it's subtle of the calendar. There's a subscribe button, and I was very excited because I know sometimes websites do have them. So I use Google Calendar for my personal calendar, so I did that, and I added it, and it was really easy. And it's a subscription; it's not a copy. So I've used this for other
Okay.
things.
The
So
other thing I was going to ask is, if I go in like I just did and I had to change a time, you don't get some notification. It just magically changes on your calendar and you don't know the difference. So you might
yeah, I
look at it the
think
first time and
that's
you
how
might
it would
go,
work. Yeah.
I thought that was 6 o'clock and now it says 6:30, but you get
Right.
the latest and greatest. Okay.
Yeah.
If
So
you
it's a,
invite somebody directly and they RSVP, they will get updates by default. Yeah, but otherwise it'll just move, I think.
Great tip.
Great idea,
I
Dan.
will do that to my own calendar.
Mhm, yeah, and you can uncheck. The best thing is you can uncheck it, so it's not going to clutter your calendar unless you want it to.
And for those of us that have a hub email, like a hub Gmail, we could have a calendar and we could add that calendar to the hub calendar as opposed to our personal calendar, or
Yeah.
if we chose to do that, right? So that could
I
be
already did that for our Google Drive has it. Yeah, too.
great. Great, good example. Does anyone else have anything as awesome as that they want to share? No? All right. Let's move to around the room then. We always start at Northwest, so let's start at Southeast instead today for a change, to shake it up a little bit. Is there anybody here? I think that's the correct name of what we call it, Southeast. Is there anybody here from that area that would like to share an update from their hub?
Not seeing any Southeast folks.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine. So Southwest.
So Nancy, do you want to announce your event?
Do I have an event?
Well, I don't know. I can't do it off the top of my head, but somewhere in January, Peace Lutheran Anna Churchill used to be the hub captain. She moved to South Park and picked up the South Park hub. So that left a hub captain gap at Peace Lutheran. So Nancy is kind of like, I'll help. And we have a neighborhood co-captain, I'll help. And we have the pastor co-captain, I'll help. So we're going to do a presentation to the congregation in January to get that hub, pulled back into the community.
The other part, oh, sorry. The other part is, it's key is getting the people that actually know that the hub is there to participate. So I emailed all my people in my block watch, which is just south of the church. And that's like a couple dozen people, and about only 3 or 4 responded and said they're interested in hearing updates. So if someone has more suggestions on how to create a critical mass, I'm interested.
Yeah, it's the next door and all those things too. So Erica, oh yeah, Anne says offer food. What does NDT mean in chat? And I don't see her, so does that mean like I had to leave?
I guess so.
Yeah,
Sure.
her hub is the one that burned down, and the box fortunately was untouched, and so they have started slowly the rebuilding process. So she might be back in business within a year. So, and then I have nothing from Morgan, so that would be it from Phil. Was on there. I don't think Phil's got anything new. You're on mute.
Bill, you're on mute.
Okay. We have nothing going on between until the first of the year. After the first year, we're going to have the Admiral Neighborhood Association and the West Seattle Historical Society. We hope to get things appropriately displayed there and sign up there for the first part of the year.
Great. I think from there we go to Central East Western Core. Is that right, Cindy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Central West.
Okay, that would be me, Queen Anne, Interbay, and Magnolia. And I really have nothing new to add. Frank is off in Hawaii for a couple weeks. He'll be back, and that's about it.
Great, thanks, Bill. Anyone else from Central West?
No.
No, okay. Central Core?
Central East, there are 2 of us here, and Dana where'd Dana go?
He's there.
Okay, because she'll have something to contribute. But before that, I wanted to mention that we are going to continue with our hub increasing scariness hub practice. So Cindy's going to help us with hub 201, February 12th, and then hub 301, that's going to get even scarier, on March 18th. And the goal is to get as many hub volunteers in the Central East sector, and we accept anybody else who wants to come. I know Ann Bond on East Lake, you're coming, and others from Laurelhurst have come. So it's just an opportunity to have a tabletop around the hub and have it be different than the usual thing. And plenty of food, great environment, and let me know if you'd like to be invited. I have a list of people who came last time, so if you want to be added, let me know. And
Great.
Dean?
Oh, I don't really have anything. I'm hoping to organize with another co-captain an event with our local pharmacy, because they're new. So maybe something to kind of a recruitment event to try to get more volunteers, just to get people and raise awareness of our hub. So to try to do something. So that's in my mind to try for January, but we'll see. That's it.
Great, thank you. Central Core, was there anybody from there?
Ann Bond.
No. Anne says she's good. Okay. Northeast. I'm in Northeast. I don't have anything to report at this point.
Wait. So Central East, North, there's at least two people from North Capitol Hill. You guys got anything? Chris and Kurt.
Yeah, I don't have anything.
Okay.
I concur.
Good.
Sorry, didn't mean to skip over either of you. Okay, great. So let's see, anyone else in Northeast that has something to share?
This is Ann. I'm in Northeast. Nothing to share. Norma?
Wedgwood, we had, I think, a successful Hub 101, and we will have voted to do a 201 definitely after Madison Park, so we can do whatever they do, maybe minus the snacks. But we're thinking, well, if your date is February, we were thinking late February, early March, maybe early to mid-March, and I'll contact Ann and Cindy. But, you know, a little while after that one, so we, if we're invited, can attend Sarah's and then do our folks. And everyone, we really enjoyed having many hub captains at our 101. So you're always welcome. That really added to the event. So thanks for folks who came, and you're always welcome at ours.
Anyone else in Northeast?
This is Ellen with Roosevelt, and
Hi, Ellen.
Nothing big to report. We're still meeting and planning goals for next year. And yes, we enjoyed being with you, Norma and Wedgwood, at your event. So probably we'll be at the next one too. Thanks.
Matt, anything to share?
No.
Okay.
Our hub.
That takes us to Northwest.
This is Jody from Ballard Commons. They're working on the children's play area at Ballard Commons Park. So everything is really torn up, and we're looking forward to getting our new bigger box in January. I'm going to be in Norway from the 30th of December to the 17th of January. Maybe some progress will have been made by then. So we're going to have some meetings of what we call the A-team and get another newsletter out. But the construction there is really big, and it will take a long time. And one of the managers of it that I talked to, who's only been in Seattle 2 years, didn't even know about the earthquake bit here. So I did a little awareness building there. I'm also getting over to the library pretty frequently to keep refilling our plastic thing with pamphlets and things, and they're going out pretty well. So that's a help. I can't think of anything else.
Great. Jim, anything to share?
Yeah, Finney Hub is planning to have a skills fair sometime next year. We're meeting the 30th to discuss it, and the wonderful Ann Forrest is going to come let us know what we're getting into. I thought I saw somewhere, maybe someone else was having a skills fair January or February, but I don't see it on the calendar now.
Yeah, Jim, I just put them in chat, and I don't think they've been put on the calendar yet. February 18th and March 23rd. They're both in Ballard. And that's part of the big grant they got. They need to do 2 skills fairs, 2 tabletops, and 4 hub drills, 4 individual hub drills. So they've got quite a few events, but they got quite a bit of money. So
great.
Tit for tat.
Who is this?
Ballard. So it's Loyal Heights, Ballard Commons, Gilman Playground, and Kirkay Park.
Oh, okay. I think that's what I saw somewhere, because those dates look familiar.
And you're going to stick those on the web?
I will, yeah.
Yeah, and I just had a, go ahead, Jim, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That means we'll probably want to do our event in January.
Okay.
Yeah, just so we don't have things overlapping as much and spread things out.
Yeah, you've got a good indoor space too. Yeah, fabulous.
TNA.
Mm-hmm.
Can I have a go back at the very end for a network thing that we forgot to put on the agenda?
Sure.
When you're
You mean-
done. Yeah.
Well, you're done, but I was going to add something. I was just thinking about, somebody said they hung up a flyer, someone else hung up a flyer in a pharmacy. And then I was thinking, oh, could hang up a flyer in the Pagliacci's by my house. And then I was thinking, oh, this was all while I was sitting here. Pagliacci's always highlight something very Seattle on their pizza boxes. Maybe you could get a pizza box that had the hub hubs on it with a map and the hub network and what a hub was. Because how many people get a Pagliacci's pizza anyway?
Yeah.
That's how my mind
Oh my
works while I'm sitting here. So
You're
I asked
brilliant,
Zeke's if I could
Gabrielle.
post a
What?
a thing about my. I asked Zeke's a block
Yeah.
away if I could post a thing about my hub event, and they did not allow that.
Oh,
Yeah, but
Pagliacci's
the whole
by
pizza
my
box,
house,
man,
which
wait.
is
Pagliacci's
the,
might be
the
better.
Sandpoint one. They let you put up a flyer if it's like a community flyer. They have a board, you have to get an okay, and you can put a flyer. And I've done that before.
Right.
So
Well, if
okay,
anybody
so
gets a lead-
I'm all
if you-
done, and I'm happy to toss it back to you, Cindy.
Okay, well, if you get a lead on how to do that, because I'm sure, I don't know if they're local, local owned franchises or if it's run out of a corporate,
I don't know.
thing. But yeah, if anybody, has a casual conversation with them and they say, oh yeah, here's how we do it, let us know.
Okay.
That'd be a gas. So Anne, we forgot to talk about exercises. So
Oh yeah.
do you want to cover that?
God, Cindy, I know we talked about it and it was a great idea.
I know we've had quite the couple of weeks with all of a sudden events popping. Mostly part of the retreat. It'll be a discussion at the retreat. How will we want to do our exercise this coming year? And we have stumbled onto a resource who is, I can't remember all the stupid acronyms, but he designs exercises for Homeland Security. And so, it's like we get to have a set of eyes over us. He's heard us talk to him about how we do all our exercises. He's like, you guys are great, right?
Yeah,
And
we're
just
doing it
trying to-
right.
yeah, we're doing it right. We're just trying to figure out how to maximize it, what you want to get out of it. Do we want to do, one where 15 across the city all activate? Did we like it where everybody got together at a couple of hubs? So that'll be a topic at retreat. So when I was listening to everybody going, this is what's going on in January and then February and then March, we're bleeding a little teeny weeny bit into April, but we still got June, July, August, those great outreach, nice weather months to talk about. And that'll come up at the retreat. So be thinking in your mind what you might want to do in the summer that activates your hubs, to get your people out and with their gear and get to play when we get out of the tabletop environment and have nice weather. Thank you.
You're muted, Gabrielle.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where'd Gabrielle go? There's so many people tonight. I'm having a hard time finding people.
It looks like most of the dates we've talked about are on this agenda. Is there anything, Anne or Cindy, you think we need to add? I will put the Discord link on the Google version of the agenda. I think Matt's still got it in the chat there, so I'll pull it out. All right, otherwise, are we all wrapped up? Any last comments or announcements?
Fabulous meeting, you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, good job.
Great
Get a lot of information. All right, good night, everyone. Nice to see you. Our next meeting will be in January. We do not have a December meeting. There's no deep dive in December. All right, see everybody then. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye.